Live too?
He thought it was just gonna be YouTube.
It would cost you a fortune to play the
He's
Android.
available by phones. Like, he's-
You're getting arrested for murder. No matter what, they're arresting you.
He tried getting into his house.
On camera, but urinating.
So this is the maiden voyage, right? We're all set. All right, let's call the meeting to order and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Rossi,
Here.
Mr. Bea,
Here.
Mr. Rossi. Here. Mr. McKay.
Yes.
Mr. Emmanuel.
Here.
Mr. Gallup is excused, and Mr. Mancini is excused, but he's available by phone.
With public comment, obviously, we're gonna have people make public comment on the, what's it, the site? Okay. And there won't be public comment at this time. All right, let's have a motion for the approval of the minutes from our last meeting.
I'll make a motion. I'll second it.
All right, there you go. Rossi, motion, any discussion, seconded by Bea. All right, all in favor? All right, we should do a roll call for the audience that's.
All right,
watching.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Bea,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi. Yes. Mr. McKay,
Yes.
Mr. Emmanuel.
Yes. Okay, we have a bills and invoice resolution from our August bills. Resolution number 8.
I'll sponsor it. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. Same bills that we pay every month.
All right. Second, we're gonna need a second. Gina DeRossi, second. Any discussion? Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Bea, Mr.
Yes.
Bea, Mr. Rossi. Yes. Mr. McKay,
Yes.
Mr. Emmanuel.
Yes. All right, how about the treasurer's report?
We're looking good. Moved from June to July. We went up about another 9,000, almost 900,000 in total available cash. 46,000 of that restricted for loans for, what do we call it, JFA, Jobs for Amsterdam. So our available cash to spend is $845,000.
Okay. We'll need a motion on that resolution. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was the treasurer's report.
To accept it? Motion to accept it?
No, there's no resolution. As chairman's report, the only thing right now that I have to report on is the Edson Street sign is, we paid, you approved half the price for Prime Sign in Fonda. He's working on the sign. He's also, Director Duchessis sent out a letter to all the businesses in the park asking for their logo so we can have their logos affixed to the sign. Once we get that, the gentleman will put the new sign in the Edson Street Industrial Park. And another thing that was brought to our attention, Sandy got a call and then I followed up with a little investigating myself. The Industrial Park Road, especially near the AGT site, I believe that's D'Andriano Lane, the paving, the road condition is really terrible. So I asked Gabriel Construction, Terry Bertucci, to go take a look at it and give us a report. I'm not sure how much it's going to be. I have the sealed envelope right here. Chuck, you can open it up. I believe that if it's over a certain amount, we're going to have to get a couple more bids. I'd like to have that road, the industrial park, paved I know AGT section is in horrible condition, as I said. So it might be a wise thing for us to do. We're putting a new sign up, maybe to pave portions of that road bit by bit. To do the whole park, I think that might be a little too much money for us right now. But if we do the sections that are really bad, there's quite a few employees that drive in there on a daily basis. So
I want to say right now, this year is a good year to do it. Oil prices are down, so asphalt is down. So if you're ever going to do a lot of this, we got good pricing this year on the roads.
all right, great, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is something the city wouldn't help out with.
Well, we can maybe, I know they just legislated their road program. I know they plow it for us. They kind of maintain the vegetation if we need it, so
Whose property is it?
it's the industrial park. Some of the
I know, but who owns the property?
Chuck.
Who owns the property? I mean, you're saying that we own the road, we
Yep.
retain the road?
I'm asking that. Do we own?
I honestly don't know. But if we do.
I think we do. I think the IDA owns the roadways.
The city
The
can't
city
really-
does us a favor and paves, and if there's any, I remember when Mr. Bayan was chairman, we had a gentleman's agreement with the city regarding any pipes. I remember they did some scoping of some damage, there was some backwash, AGT. So the city has been very good to us over the years, so
Who's plowing in the winter?
the city.
That might be their road. I mean, it would be typical to deed over the roads to the municipality.
All I'm concerned with where CHIPS money is allowed to be used.
I think the city's, we can check, as Mr. Bayan mentioned, but it looks like we can certainly check with the city engineer if that would be feasible. I mean, what's the price here, John?
He's got it broken up into 4 different areas. He just patching and paving at D'Andriano. He's got 4 different areas, and the total to do all 4 is $11,022. I guess you could pick 1 or 2 of them, but if the city owns these roads, which is normal, the city takes it over, then this is not something we can do. So the city has to deal with it. But I'll check into that. and see
Let's
what-
check into that.
It's normal to dedicate the roads in any project to the municipality if they'll accept it. So the fact that they're plowing it would tell me that they probably are city roads, so. I'll have to check with DPW or.
Yeah.
It's not much fun.
Yeah, we'll look into it and,
What's the square foot?
Square footage, 1,500 square feet, and their bid is $3,750. The second area total square feet is 1,944, and their bid is $4,860. The third area is 625 square feet, and the total labor is $1,560. And the fourth area is total square foot of 341, and the total labor, equipment, and materials is 852. But this is something that we would have to follow our rules and have to go out for bid.
Well, Chuck, I think in a construction project, I think general municipal law is 35,000 before you have to bid. I would think
I'd
our
have to
rules
look
would
at
follow that,
with our policy or whatever.
but I think our policy would follow that.
We have a policy already in place. I don't have it off the top of my head, but we could check it out.
But I guess my question is that just repaving that road that goes down from the turn?
This is just filling holes,
well, he's
patching.
gonna patch the
paving.
holes and then pave over it and put a level paving. He said
Top coat.
I mean, that's a great price.
the binder, the road had good binder in it, under it. So it's not like it's gonna wash out or anything. He said, but the AGT called Sandy, was it? And it's a mess. He said some of the employees are driving way off the side of the road to get around it and onto the grass. And so that's why I took the liberty to ask a local to go and check it out. And certainly we have to go out and get 2 more bids? I mean, is that proper to get 3 bids,
Well, whatever, Chairman, I don't have the policy
Okay.
memorized. but
I have it
we-
in the office.
All right, we can,
Yeah, we just,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah,
maybe we can, as soon as possible, find out if the city's responsible.
yeah,
And then if not, if people are driving off the road to get to work, then it might be.
Yeah.
We may be able to throw it in our
please
program,
take, I
but we're gonna be starting soon, so.
Right.
well,
encourage everybody to take a ride up there and you'll see, it really should get done, so. And before the colder weather comes in would be a great idea. So September, we're eyeing at September, so if we can get this moving, maybe by the next meeting, we can legislate something. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Duke and I will look into, who owns the road,
Okay.
and you can look into the legalities of
The RFP.
bids,
Okay,
how many bids.
got it. I'll have an answer for you tomorrow.
All right, and if we don't need RFP, maybe we can just request 3 companies. I think if it's under a certain amount, you can ask just 3 companies
So
to.
I think we need to look at our policy and then maybe amend it. Amend it to follow general municipal law. There's no sense of getting bids. If you can buy something in general municipal law for under 20 grand without any bids, our policy should follow that. We should
And it might-
hamper ourselves trying
And
to get
it
bids and
may,
everything.
it may. We never had.
There's a good chance that we have to follow the city's procurement anyway.
That's our rule too. We follow general municipal law. I know.
It's 35,000 for construction projects, $20,000 for a single
Or
purchase.
and then professional services exempt from the whole
Yeah.
policy.
The only issue with this paving is if the city owned it and we wanted to do that for them, that paving mix may not meet the requirements that the city requires to be on the streets.
We'll
So
get
that's
the,
a whole to do when you're
We'll
doing
get
these
these-
contracts with municipalities and paving.
we'll start a dialogue with the city engineer.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well,
I became a paving expert.
Me too.
Type 6, well, I think we're gonna be using type 7 for top coat, I know that. He's using the lower grade.
But you're right, the liquid asphalt's so cheap right now.
Like if you're,
That's the best way.
if you guys have to do it, I'd recommend doing the whole thing this year.
Yeah,
well, that's another thought too.
Just because next year if oil prices go back up, then you're gonna be paying more. I mean, last year, I think we paid $75 for a ton, and this year we're paying 64 for binder, 64 for binder and 72 for top. Yeah, it's just a thought. If we don't do it, you guys have money.
So we're gonna need some direction. I know we need the,
Where do I have money?
We do
$7.7
need-
million in deficit.
we do need direction from Chuck. But if we are gonna act upon this, we should do it in the real short order, because our next meeting is September 17th. And if we, then have to go out to bid or get requests for proposals, this could go into November. And we don't wanna do too
well, that's
much.
the end of the paving season.
Right,
Once-
so
once it
I'd
starts
rather
to get cold.
I'd rather see us work quicker on this, and then maybe we can call a special meeting of the board to legislate and award a bid or award a contract, or if Chuck says that we can do it without that. But I will keep you posted.
And September is a good month. And
Yeah.
July, August are terrible. Too hot.
Okay,
Goes to the top.
and that's pretty much the director's report. Now we'll go to attorney.
I have no report.
Chuck, just, where are we with all those pilots, the legislative pilots? Like, just give us a quick rundown. Where is, are there any, like with the DePaul project and anything else like that? Is that gonna be in your report?
Yeah, I already sent a copy of the document that you signed
Okay.
to John.
And our pilots that were open have been closed. Stars, District High, those have been done for months now.
All public hearings have been held and we voted on them.
Equity thought.
Right, good. Go to the director.
Okay, real quick, I'm still finishing up a lot of public authorities reporting. Some of the issues that we're straightening out go back a number of years. And not the least of which is we finally got an answer regarding posting of conduit debt on our website. We no longer have to do that. So that got squared away. It turns out that our auditor reports conduit debt in his annual audit because the property's underlying debt, but it's not debt of the agency, conduit debt. We wouldn't be responsible for it. So that typically got reported on an annual basis, and that's no longer necessary. We did get one, just some interest in a request for an application for jobs for Amsterdam. I informed people that we don't really have any money in that account right now, but the agency would still entertain an application, but they have to be rejected by a bank first, because we're not supposed to be competing with banks for loans. I mentioned earlier that the DePaul project, the executed copy of the pilot agreement has been forwarded. Notified Empire State Development Corporation that AGT Services Capital, this was a grant won by the agency, I think in 2016. The project never came to fruition, so we started to get done on reports that were lacking, but no one ever reported to Empire State that the project didn't go through. So that's done. And the other thing I wanted to, two more things. One is it's time for the audit, and we're going to get that started. But Geek Anthology committee met regarding their lease. I went to visit Chuck regarding that, and let him know that committee recommended a 1-year extension with no change in terms, and he's happy with that. So I don't know if you do an extension or a new lease or how you would do that, but that's that. So that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We'll do that in new business. Okay, now we're going to hear from Amanda. Do you have anything to report on from the CEDD?
I mean, not, if you have specific questions about projects, but there's just so much happening right now. I'm not
Is
sure.
it related to the DRI?
DRI, we have the brownfield studies that are moving forward. We're hoping to wrap that up probably around the next couple of months. I think I brought up that we've identified strategic sites. We've already been looking at showing developers what some of the strategic sites are, what's available preemptively before the plan is even complete. So we can get a jump on actually revitalizing those neighborhoods. And so that one particular developer is interested in pursuing some of those sites moving forward. We're moving forward on our form-based code, which is updating basically the whole downtown core zoning district of the city. That's looking to take effect in November, which would then jumpstart our downtown improvement fund, which is a $600,000 funding stream that we have through DRI for small businesses and mixed use buildings in the DRI boundary that would be able to apply for small grants to do facade improvement and building updates. So that will hopefully be available at the end of this year. So if you want to, if you're able to work through the winter or even in the spring, that's a program that will be coming up shortly. So those are the immediate projects that are happening, and then working with the library and on getting the community center going before the fall hits for the bigger DRI projects.
All right, any questions for Amanda?
Is that on the 399 West Main? Is there any more dialogue on developer?
So yes, we've had a conversation. They're going to be sending over an MOU shortly for that property to see what the next steps are. for that. And once I have that, then I'll have a more in-depth conversation with Ada on, what the
Phase-
plans are and
phase
just
two.
what, yeah.
Who owns that property? The city right now?
A combination of city and, one private, owner that we're looking to get in the foreclosure process, but we've been waiting for the courts to open. So once the courts open, we'll take ownership of that property as well.
Was that his garage area?
We own that one, yeah.
I mean, that's what
Yeah.
area we're talking about? Okay.
Good. And I think Director Duchessis has one more thing.
Yes, I left out that I'm almost done with the budget draft and we request a committee meeting so we can review it and have a resolution ready for the next meeting.
All right, that would be Finance? Finance Committee. Okay. And that does consist of let's see, Sandy, where are you? Just want to make sure we can get
Mike's me and you.
you.
Across from me and you.
Mike Rossi must be the, okay,
Yeah,
Mike, so
this
then
is
you, please schedule a Finance Committee meeting, short order, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. Committee reports? Any committee reports? Mike, you're here from Building and Grounds.
There's really nothing going on. It was mostly, with, that was the only.
Okay, good.
And
Well, that's a good thing, I guess. We're gonna legislate, we'll put a consent resolution up to accept his 1-year extension. Is there anything else with Building and Grounds? Anybody who needs to? Sure.
Say something.
Yeah.
The weeds in front of the building on Main Street, the building we own, and in the back that are getting overgrown. But the whole Main Street has weeds. Are we responsible just for our section? Who's responsible for the rest of this Main Street, all the weeds?
That's a great question, because that was brought to our attention maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And I went down on a Saturday with my own weed whacker to address our property. And when I got there, I could have been there all day, helping out the whole city. So then I texted our mayor and brought it to his attention that, that we needed somebody, the vegetation crew. So that's, I guess, maybe our liaison can bring that back to his chambers. And
Is this in front of the building?
this is the whole downtown.
In front of the building and in the back of the.
We need some Roundup out there.
Does Rob Spagnola still?
Well, technically, we're not allowed
Yeah.
to Roundup.
We have an agreement with Rob Spagnola
Well, I happen
to
to
do this.
run into Rob, and he said he's available now. He was busy before. He said if you give him a list, he'll see the.
All right, let's have Duke. Duke, we can put
down there and
together,
start.
I know
Well,
the
we have an
Edson
agreement
Street.
with Recreation. We gave
Well,
them
what happened is we didn't
$7,000.
hire people.
Yeah.
We didn't hire people early up on,
Well, he said he's available.
All right, so then what we're gonna do is, I'll have Duke initiate some conversation with Rob and tell him our concerns. And I know also the Edson Street Industrial Park sign area, they did it in probably May, and they probably need to do that again. So we can put that on the list too.
Yeah, that was reported too.
everything's going fast this year.
yeah, we didn't hire any people till like mid-July.
Right.
I finally got Crystal Bar done.
Okay.
There's a lot going on.
Any other committee reports? Any other questions regarding? Okay. Unfinished business before this board? All right, under new business, then we're gonna have a resolution. And Chuck, do you want to?
Yeah, I just need a resolution to extend the Geek Pantology's lease for 1 year upon the same terms as in the previous lease. We need a resolution for a second roll call.
All right, I'll make that motion. Anybody want to second it? Okay, Mike McCabe second it. All right, any discussion on that? Okay, let's call the roll.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Baya,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. McCabe,
Yes.
Mr. Emmanuel.
Yes. All right, thank you. Okay, under executive session, I would like to go into executive session with our board. Chuck, can you give us the reason?
Yeah, it's related to the proposition, acquisition, sale, or lease of real property, excuse me, or the proposed acquisition, sale, or exchange of securities, but only when publicity would substantially affect their value.
And once the executive session is over, we will not be legislating. So it's just to have a discussion with the board. So I need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
All right,
second that.
have a motion, second by Mike Rossi. Any discussion? Okay, that motion passes. I'd like to have the board, Mr. Russo, you'd like to stay. I'd like Amanda to stay if she is able to. And Donna, there's no need for you to stay at this time. We're not going to legislate, so we'll come out of executive session and then adjourn. So you don't need to stay.